there's a lot of stakes on this Colombia game because this Venezuela team, as we talked about the squad last week, we had no idea what we were going to get. We're going to have so much more information on any team that we face at the World Cup. And because of that, we picked this game to do all these individual experiments. Going into Colombia, and this is a quality South American team. They finished third in CONMEBOL qualifying, although that kind of 3-7 was just a whole big jumble. But they are a good team. They're coming off 8 games without a loss, including 5 of those being those competitive qualifiers and just the 3 friendlies. They beat New Zealand 2-1 a couple of days ago. They've got lots of quality through them. Luis Diaz, James Rodriguez, Yerry Mina, Jefferson Lerma, and Carlos Cuesta, so many of those kind of names. This is a team stacked with European quality. This is much more representative to the type of opposition that we're going to face at the World Cup. This is your time to play your best 11, or at least out of the ones that we have in the squad.
Yeah.
Maybe 1 or 2, but because Popovich, this is literally the last chance to experiment. You don't get another window until March.
Yeah.
This is the game. Good quality South American opposition that's going to go to the World Cup. This is the one where I think we really should be reading into the result.
100%. And it's against a team as well that, unlike Venezuela, you can plan for Colombia, right? There's relative stability in this team compared to what has happened at Venezuela. So there's really very few excuses. I think this is kind of your litmus test of how deep can you go in the World Cup, right? It's kind of almost like, if you can get a good result here, hey, you know what? It's going to look good. Because I think we're all kind of going into this World Cup, right? And maybe this is a bit foolish, but expecting Australia to make the playoff stages, right? Like to get through the groups.
I think definitely get to the round 32.
Yeah. And so it's like, it's then how far can you push it from there? Because once you're into the round of 32, you're going to be up against teams like your Colombias, right? Those kind of top 20, top 30 teams in the world. So, save for a few teams missing out here or there. But, for the most part, those are the teams you're going to face. So this is kind of your litmus test of, can we actually take it to these sides? Can we, really prove ourselves at this level? And like you said, I think that there's no room for experimentation in this one. It's go with your best 11 and go, this is, our World Cup before our World Cup. Let's see what we can do, and let's take it to a really, really good side who, we can prepare for. We've seen them play just recently against New Zealand, right? We can kind of understand how they might look to attack us and the way they might look to try and progress the ball. I noticed one of the things that they did, they just really overwhelmed the midfield, that kind of second line, and just put a lot of bodies there. Just were like, you can't mark all of us, and if you do, there's a lot of space in behind. So, they kind of did that. And then it also meant that they had momentum when they were attacking, because you've got 5 guys running at your defenders, versus like maybe 2 or 3. So, you can kind of prepare for that and understand that that's how they're going to approach it. And again, that provides its own unique challenge and test. And I think that this is the one. I think of all the kind of international friendlies that this team has had since qualifying for the World Cup, this is the biggest one, that could almost kind of make or break expectations heading into the World Cup.
It's going to be fascinating, isn't it? I wonder what Popo's going to do, because it's really the last shake of the dice. Like, who in this squad is going to, push for some kind of minutes off the bench just to... For that bench marker, laying down the yardstick. Like, is a James Overy going to get some minutes at right wing back? At some point, you need to start getting consistency. But there is so long to go until the next window. I don't know. It's just who knows at this point. And that's been a very similar thing with Popovich, right? We never quite know what he's going to do. Do we think that if Australia beats Colombia or Australia loses to Colombia, then instantly that's a shift? So, for example, like you're talking about getting other groups, right?
Yeah.
So for context, a win against anyone in, the group stage will get you to 3 points. And 3 points is, if you run the simulations, pretty much the benchmark for do you make it as a best third place team in the groups, because this is what we do with a 48-team World Cup. Occasionally, a team who wins a game that has a poor goal difference will miss out, right? So you want to win at least one game, and you want to have an okay goal difference. If you can do that, you're going to go through to the knockouts. So Colombia where are they actually ranked in the world? They're probably in that pot 2 bracket, right?
I want to say they're number 20. That might be a bit wrong. They were saying it all on comms during the Venezuela game, but I was just not paying attention.
World ranking 13.
13.
Yeah. So they are going to be in that kind of top of pot 2. So this is the kind of team that we could be playing that is above us theoretically in the rankings, that we may be going head to head at to try and get into the second place in the group. Or obviously we're going to have a powerhouse up top as well. And then, you know, if you do manage to do that and you finish second, there is a chance, depending on how the draw shakes out, that you could play another second place team. So that all of a sudden gives you an advantage. So it really does feel like this is the good test. And of course, we still have March and we still have the warm-up games before the World Cup. And, you know, those March games, as much as they'll be hopefully competitive and building, there's, you know, ideally going to be some send-off element in Australia. It's going to be a very emotional part as well. It feels like there is a lot riding on it, because as much as I tried to make a case for 2 losses in the positives, if you then get 3 on the run, then it really does spin the other way, right?
Yeah, especially after such a, you know, strong start and everyone talking about, oh, Popovic is never going to lose again. You know, it's this team just doesn't lose. And yeah, all of a sudden, hold on, we can lose, and we have done. And losing a third, yeah, like you said, would absolutely just like kill it. I reckon kill this momentum, kill the vibe around the team that's been building since that result against Japan, right? Like it just feels like it's been growing and growing and growing. So yeah, I think it would be, you know, huge, not just from a maybe we kind of, you know, need to reevaluate where we're at kind of situation, but also this is going to hurt us mentally moving forwards now, that we've kind of had a poor couple of windows. So yeah, I think there's a lot of elements at play. I think this is a big game. There's a lot riding on it. It's going to be a great game though. I mean, Colombia are a fantastic team. We've seen what the Socceroos can be like at their best. So hopefully it's these two teams at their absolute best, and it's going to be a great game. But yeah, there's a lot riding on it from an Australian perspective, you know, just in terms of what's it going to mean moving forwards for the expectations for the World Cup, which we touched on, yeah, and then also that mental side of things is it going to kill the vibe of the team and kind of change that narrative around Popovic almost, right? Which I feel like I've seen a little bit of after the last 2 losses, where it's like,
yeah,
maybe
I still
maybe Popovic isn't all that, but you know,
yeah, look, obviously it's football, right? Opinion swings with the results. I think he has a fair bit of credit in the bank. And at the same time, given the next window is March, that's what, like 4 months really until the next game. That's a long time for people to hold their memory, and like so that you know, Popper maybe not all that kind of wears off as time goes by. But also in the same vein, it's 4 months until you can put something right, until you go, oh, we didn't do this right, and you have to go to bed every night thinking about it.
You're only as good as your last performance.
Exactly. And so look, hopefully it's a good performance. Individually, is there anything you still want to see out of the people in this window? Because you're looking at the likes of a Kai Truan and Paulo Conexler, who got brought in from the A-League, and obviously Beach as well, and Goodwin being the A-League players. They're the ones that are being tested, so they've had their opportunity to start. So do you think we're going to see more of that? Or do you think the likes of... obviously, Jackson Irvine is building from his injury, right? I don't think anyone would expect him to start. But, you know, does someone else come in midfield? Does someone like a Riley McGree, who has played 90 minutes at Middlesbrough, do we see what, you know, he gets with a full 90?
Yeah. I think it's kind of still... I mean, the defense is what it is. I think we kind of know, you know, what our strongest defense looks like, when they're available, of course. You know, with Chikati, Burgess, even Deganek, which you made a case for earlier, you know, has looked very strong in the minutes he's gotten. You know, Geordie Boss on the left, Lewis Miller on the right. Like, I feel like I said, it's still, it's that midfield and those number 10s, and kind of who's going to be the one that really steps up and shows what they can do. And with Irvine kind of not fully there, maybe this is a bit harsh. I wasn't overly impressed with Metcalf in the game against Venezuela. I felt he was very, very sloppy in possession. I don't know. Maybe that's just me seeing only the bad from him. But it just felt like every time he went to make a killer pass, he just whiffed it completely, and killed momentum. And it's like those are kind of the things you want to avoid if you're putting your name up for contention, right? Riley McGree's an interesting prospect, coming in as a 10, like I said earlier, really comfortable playing in those central positions, which gives just that extra little bit of I suppose support to what's typically an outmanned midfield. Even potentially Craig Goodwin moving into that 10 role. We've seen him there a few times for the Socceroos, obviously been there most of the season for Adelaide United, so that's another option there as well. Is he do you still have some sort of use for Craig Goodwin, and is it in that 10 role, right? Like you said, I think they've probably learned enough to know left wing back is very much just in case of emergency. Like it's really a worst case scenario. But does he still have that impact playing as a 10? He hasn't played there for a while for the Socceroos, so who knows? I think that could be something that we see, maybe not to start, but maybe coming off the bench and trying to provide a spark later in the match. So there's still a couple of positions where it feels like things are a little bit up for grabs, and there's a few players with their hands up for it. So it'll be interesting to see who Popper goes with for the starting 11, who he properly backs, because that's usually the indicator, right? Is whoever he puts into that starting 11 is kind of the one that he wants to see the most of, which makes sense because they're going to get the most minutes in a game. So the way that they line up will be fascinating for sure.
I think the other curveball I'll throw in, I'm fascinated to see what he does with James Overy, because from what I can make out, Lewis Miller at Blackburn, he's been playing in a 3 at the back, but as the right central back, the right centre back, as you say, so not that kind of wing back position that he's been asked to play for the Socceroos. And 6 months ago it'd be all well and good because you could point to all the good performances, but he's only had one start in that position because Italiano's been tried out, and someone else I can't remember before the last window. I don't even know, but Lewis Miller,
Sammy Silvera or someone.
Silvera, that's it. He had one as well. So Lewis Miller hasn't actually had a lot of starts in that position. I thought he was okay. Again, he was kind of in that middle group of players. Like, he was okay. He didn't do anything spectacular. But if you're going to experiment, what is the other option? Well, in this window, the other option is James Overy, 17, who just turned 18 as he came into camp. So freshly 18 years old at Manchester United, has been playing in the 20s, has been with first team training with some of the stars at that football club at Manchester United. I don't know. I can see it. I can absolutely see Popper. I think it's possible. Look, maybe it's half an hour off the bench.
Yeah, but I think that's more likely.
I don't know. We've also seen Popper actually, start those kind of players and then bring on the quote-unquote regulars towards the end of the game.
That's true.
To finish
but I just feel like all this talk that we've had about this being a real litmus test for the World Cup, and you want to put your strongest 11 forwards. I know you want to test out these players that you've got in camp right now, like a James Overy, but is it worth sacrificing a performance in this game potentially for trying out somebody, in that position? Like, yeah.
I lean yes. I lean towards yes because I think Popper does not give an F. You know what I mean? Like, as much as all of the talk, like we'd absolutely be part of this as well. All the talk, okay, Socceroos have lost 3 in a row. What's happening? Where is it all going wrong? Yeah. And Popper's just in his own little word with his coaching staff, not hearing any of it, going, we learnt all these great things about James Overy at right back, and even though he conceded a goal, like, these are all his good things, right? So he won't care. So that kind of leads me to believe, and we are, as much as we've said, we want to see that performance against Colombia. Colombia, my apologies. There's an O in there, not a U, which I'm persistently reminded. It is in that November. There's still so much time. So I'm going to lean towards yes. I'd be fascinated. I'd love to see it as well.
I think it would be cool to see. I don't know if it's the right move. I don't know. We'll see.